Thanks again for coming today. We are going to start this SIIS Sapporo International Islamic School orientation today, and we have a program. It's a little long until 11:45 is planned. And first of all, we have Hokkaido Islamic Society's chairman, Mr. Tafik. But before that, we have Brother Mahmoud come up to the stage. Assalamu alaikum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما.
Now let's invite our chairman, Brother Tafik, up to the stage for the welcome speech.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I would like to thanks and welcome all of you on behalf of Hokkaido Islamic Society. You know that Hokkaido Islamic Society is our kind-hearted organization. We love this organization and we started this organization since a couple of years before. But you know that we had a dream to start a big project like new masjid project, work project, and lot of projects. But beside this, we are thinking that we had something lacking in educational and with religious. In this target, actually we started to think how we can build a religious organization with the Islamic school and international. Alhamdulillah, Allah gave us chance with the help of our Imam Sheikh Ismail and some founders and co-founders. They are trying a lot. We are also trying a lot to start this project. Inshallah, may Allah guide us and help us. I will not take too long time. Inshallah, our founders and co-founders will introduce all of you. Just have patience and listen what they are planning, we are planning. We need all of your support and cooperation all the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman, for the speech. Now let's invite Sheikh Mohammed Ismail for student founders and presentation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone. Very glad, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, that we are starting this project. Alhamdulillah, by the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are trying to make one of the most important projects ever for any Islamic society living in such countries. So inshallah, I will try my best to make it and simple. And please, if you have any questions, you can ask it after the last presentation. We have 3 presentations. So after the last one, please keep up in your mind your questions so you can ask it. So first of all, let me give you some quick introduction before going into the details. You know, a very brief and quick idea about the history of Islam in Japan. Of course, the first masjid was built in Kobe, 1935, and after that was the Islamic Center or the Tokyo Jami in Tokyo. Muslims immigrated to Japan, very few numbers, around 100 years ago or less, but they started to migrate with some convenient numbers around 40 years, 50 years. And when they immigrated to Japan and settled down as Muslims, of course, it's very essential to have masajid. So they tried their best, and their main concern is to have masajid in Japan. There was only one masjid, as you can see, around 80, 90 years ago. Now, alhamdulillah, we have 110 plus masajid in Japan. So, unfortunately, there was no good plan about the second generation to grow up in Japan. Of course, our children, it's like the joy of our eyes. All of us, we want to see our children the best. All of us, we want to see our children very righteous and very knowledgeable, very powerful. So, when they didn't have the proper plan about how to keep our generation on the best way, there was no Islamic schools. So what happened? That unfortunately more than 80% of those children from the second generation, they lost their Islamic identity. Either by quitting Islam totally, or no practicing at all. You cannot know this is a Muslim or not. No practicing at all, no in relation with Islam. So this big, shocking news, when we heard about it, we were thinking, so what's our responsibility towards this great, important issue? Our children, you know, if we are now living in Japan and our children and the second generation grown up here, they will 80, 90% leave Islam, then this is really a disaster. So from our responsibility, we tried, from our experience, to help in this by having after school, the juku that we had in the masjid. And we tried to help the children, but unfortunately we found that it's not enough, not satisfying everyone, because the children still, they are spending few time, just 5 hours per week, which is really not enough to keep them on the proper and straight path. So we tried to understand, okay, how about the rest of the cities in Japan, what they are doing regarding this issue. So we start to visit and ask, collect information, consult. So we found that in Tokyo area, like Otsuka, they had International Islamic School in Otsuka. This is in the heart of Tokyo. UI, just behind Tokyo Jami, also they had UI International Islamic School related to Islamic Center of Japan. And also in Ebina, they had the British International School, which is very close to Tokyo as well. And Islamic Circle of Japan also, they created Cordoba International School. This was 4 Islamic schools and all is around Tokyo. So we visited many times, consulted, and had a lot of meetings to understand exactly and deeply what they are doing. And out of our understanding, out of our responsibility, and after collecting the information, we came to know, okay, what is our needs here in Hokkaido or in Sapporo? So we came that it's very essential to have healthy environment for our children. And of course, when we are saying healthy environment, doesn't mean just healthy for the body. Healthy for the body, healthy for the soul, healthy for their identity. And we need high quality education, which you can say that mostly most of the families living in Sapporo, they are international. They are not living here long time. They are coming to live for several years and leaving, so they need high quality education and preferable international education. And we need, of course, the Islamic tarbiyah, the Islamic discipline, and of course, we need to provide for our children a proper, strong Islamic knowledge. So after all this, we came that the solution is to have the Sapporo Islamic International School. This is a must. After a lot of thinking and meetings and consulting, we decided this step we should do by the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, we will do it. So the question, okay, how we are going to make something like this? So we started to think deeply. We came to this vision and mission. The vision of the school aims to be a platform for providing powerful modern science based on high-quality education through the latest active learning methods, mixed with emotional development skills and character-building therapies, and providing deep Islamic education qualifying the students to be strong, effective believers proud of their Islamic identity. This is a very clear vision for us. And the school's mission is to promote excellence in morals, faith, education, and personal skills with physical and psychological development for graduating the Muslim model who represents Islam, implement and call for it by his manners and actions before his speech, which we are really missing in our time now, to find Islamic scholar in science, a doctor in the university, and in the same time, he is knowledgeable and proud of his Islamic identity, practicing properly, is following the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, representing Islam without saying and without his speech, but with his actions and manners, and he is very strong and effective member in the society. And just to let you understand this school, what is the relation with the school and our masjid? Of course, this school is just sub-committee from Hokkaido Islamic Society, from many projects under Hokkaido Islamic Society. We have the school, and this school, it has founders, this committee has founders, and from the MC of the masjid representatives. So if you can see, the hierarchy is very simple. Of course, it's very small and in the beginning. Under the school committee, which are mainly providing the strategic planning, they will have the school principal who will put the tactic planning, and after that the operation will be done by the staff. And this school committee are myself, Dr. Abdul Rashid as co-founder, Aya Muhammad as co-founder, chairman of Hokkaido Islamic Society, and Yusuf Sensei, of course, as vice chairman, and as well as a very successful professor in more than one university in Sapporo. So, of course, it's not enough to ensure that we can have a successful project. So what we tried to do, that we had a lot of consultants, advisors for this school, many meetings from consultants of Ministry of Education in Saudi Arabia, from the United States, and even from Egypt and Turkey and UK. As you can see, Dr. Karim Miheri from Oxford, and Brother Yusuf Hamzawi is the Vice Principal of UI in Tokyo. You can see that Dr. Hussam Zeina is the President of International Islamic School of Otska. You can see Engineer Farouk Refat, the founder of 2 schools in Tokyo, Khalid Al-Kilani, Principal of Al-Aqsa American School in Turkey, and from Egypt, of course, Darul Uthman, that we will know about it more after some time. So we had a lot of advisors, a lot of meetings, listening to many and various people having deep experience about the international Islamic schools all over the world, in Muslim countries as well in non-Muslim countries. So after we had many consultations and many visits on campus for many schools, we decided the best that we can have cooperation with 3 schools. 2 in Tokyo, International Islamic School of Otska, as well UI, and these 2 schools, as you know, they are in Japan. It's very important to see our brothers, how they did. They took a lot of steps, so we need to understand it properly. So we already signed memorandum of understanding with OSCA and UI, International Islamic Schools in Tokyo. Then, to have a higher quality, as these two schools, they are not more than 5 years. Now they are just 4 and something, 4 plus since they started. So we had another memorandum of understanding with Dar Luqman al-Hakim International School in Egypt. And this school established more than 20 years. It's American Islamic School. So after that, let's see how we try to prepare the elements of the school. Of course, the elements of the school, you need a very clear curriculum, teachers, and the students. If we are going to speak about the curriculum, in Sapporo, around 85% from Muslims living in Sapporo, they are students, PhD students, master students, or working in the university. Mostly, they are not living in Sapporo for more than 4 or 5 years, mostly. So, of course, it's very preferable that they will choose for their children international education, so when they will leave Japan, it's very simple for them to let their children to continue in the same path all over the world, as this is a wide world education, international education, anywhere you can find it, the American schools and the British schools. So we were focusing, okay, we need international education. So from the American and the British, we tried to make a lot of comparison. Actually, it took a long time to decide which is better, American curriculum or the British curriculum. Of course, both are very strong, very well known. The British especially, it has very good reputation, and the American as well has good reputation. So we came to some conclusions that the British curriculum is type of theoretical more they're focusing on the theoretical part more than the practical part. But for the American, actually, we found it that it's more creative and helping the skills, especially about leadership skills and building the character of the students, letting them to learn by practical before hearing the theory. So this is one of the advantages of the American curriculum as well. The American curriculum, as you can see, is like giving you 60% as a must. You have to take these subjects like mathematics, English, science, and so on. But it gives you 40%. You can choose whatever you want to teach. You put Quran, you put Islamic studies, you put Arabic, it's up to you. The British does not allow you to do so. So we decided, inshallah, the American will be more suitable for our society and for our needs. So we decided to use the American curriculum. And as you know, it's well known for the SAT test that it's taken after high school, grade 11 and grade 12. And after this test, which is of course a very famous test, it's allowing the students to have a certificate to apply for the universities, and you will know more about it with Dr. Abdurrashid. So about the school languages, what will be the languages of the school? So of course English is the main, language, as this is the main tool to have education. And of course, we will focus on Arabic language strongly as well, as this is part of our identity. It is really very shameful that a Muslim child is very fluent in English, beside his national language, Bangladesh, Bangla or Urdu, whatever, but he cannot speak Arabic. So we decided that Arabic is a very important tool to understand the Quran and Sunnah. So no compromise for having the tool of understanding the deen. So inshallah, we will teach English in a high level and as well the Arabic in a strong level. And of course, as living in Japan, we cannot skip. It's very important to have Nihongo. We cannot skip this for many reasons, mainly because if someone wants to shift from our school to a Japanese school, he can continue, and this also you will know more with Dr. Abdurrashid. And regarding the Islamic curriculum, what we are going to teach, is it like we are just going to sit and prepare each year, put a curriculum from our mind and from scratch, we are going to create a curriculum? Of course, no. We need something very, very professional to have it in our schools. So we have a very strong organization in Saudi Arabia, it's called Basair. This organization has more than 40 PhD doctors. They are specialized in education and in psychology. And they work long years, very professionals, to have a very clear books to be taught in non-Arabic countries for non-Arabs. And these books are very strong, to the point, and very good books actually. I checked it after comparison with many other curriculums. We found that this curriculum is really wonderful. It's like 17 books to be taught for elementary stage. So these are the books that they are going to have it inshallah in our school, and it's in Arabic as you see. These books will be in Arabic, so it will help the students to have a strong language, in the Arabic language, to understand Islam properly from its source by its original language, and it's simple also. It's simple, but in the same time, it's very knowledgeable. And these books are just created specially for non-Arabs. And how about the Quran al-Kareem? Of course, it's a dream for every Muslim parent to see his child Hafiz and to have this huge reward on the Day of Judgment. So, Alhamdulillah, we put a plan, and we took it actually from some schools, Dar Luqman al-Hakim. We took it like a very clear plan. They are having this in the Arab countries. The student on grade 9, which is the last year in junior high school, they finish the Quran, become Hafiz. But we said, this is a bit difficult. So we make it in our school that inshallah, we are planning students will be graduated from grade 12, the third year of high school, Hafiz, inshallah, by the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also a plan for the Quran, that after grade 12, they will become Hafiz by the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And about Arabic language, of course, everything we are thinking deeply. What is the best curriculum we can use for our children in this school, which will fit Arabs and non-Arabs, which can fit all in a very good way and balance. So one of the best curriculums we found is the most famous organization to teach Arabic for non-Arabs is Al-Arabiya Lil-Jamia. And this organization, they made a special curriculum out of 12 books. It's called Al-Arabiya Bayna Yaday Awladina. It's just created for children to be taught from young age to finish these 12 books. After finishing these 12 books, mashallah, professional in Arabic. So inshallah, we are going to have this, and we are going to add more after finishing these 12, inshallah. So we are planning also that this is taking the children from a very simple Arabic. Gradually, they will be very strong, inshallah, after several years, after elementary stage. Now let me give you just a more deep idea about the philosophy of subjects. Actually, this is also, of course, as conclusion from many meetings, especially with DLH, Dar Luqman al-Hakim in Egypt, and also Otska International Islamic School. You know, most of the schools, they focus on IQ. And IQ is the intellectual intelligence. And most parents and most schools, they just focus on this part, which is like, you know, it is about how many information my child collected, how smart he is in mathematics, in science, in physics, in social studies, and so on. They just focus on this a lot. But there is a very, very essential part, which is almost creating half of the personality and the character of the child, which is the EQ, the emotional intelligence. And this is not having high care from many parents and schools as well. The emotional intelligence is creating the personality of the child. And emotional intelligence needs professionals to care and put a curriculum and a very clear activities all over the year to help in raising up these types of intelligences for our kids. And this will know more about it with Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim, inshallah. So, for example, what is the philosophy behind teaching the Islamic subjects? Of course, it's clear. This is our identity. This is our identity. If the child does not have a clear belonging, I'm belonging to what? To whom? It's very clear. What is the belonging of the person? You know, You are very clear with yourself. I am a Muslim. This is clear. This is your identity. So the philosophy behind teaching the Islamic subjects, our nation's culture and identity. Mathematics, of course, it's not just mathematics. It's giving the logical thinking in general, letting the child to have a lot of logical thinking in his life, and as well problem solvers. You know, they had a survey in America. They found that 64% from the CEOs of the big companies in America, they are engineers. So problem solving, logical thinking is coming from mathematics. As well, science, programming, and robotics. Science. Science is the center of power. All developed countries, why they are developed? Why are they controlling other countries? Science, technology. So without providing science, programming, and robotics, by the way, in our school, we are teaching programming and robotics not from grade 1, from KG. So this is very important to let our children to be very powerful in this is the center of power in the world now, science. So they should have latest things so they can match with this huge technology and development. English, it is not the matter of, now my son or my daughter, they can have the British accent or the American accent or the Australian accent. It's not like this. It is not a matter of, I'm proud that my child can speak American. No. English is the tool of education. This is the main tool of education and communication all over the world, number one. So this is our target. Of course, we'll try to provide the best English teachers and native English teachers, but the target is to understand what is the philosophy to have English. To be proud that your child can speak English? No, because this is the main tool of education and communication. As well, the physical exercise, al-Muslim al-Qawi, al-Mu'min al-Qawi, to have a powerful body. That school events is very important to build the character skills, leadership, confidence, power, and so on. This is very important to focus on with our children. And as you see, to be in a professional way, because we cannot do this actually, to be honest, we cannot do this alone. This needs professionals, and we are still no experience. So how to do it? So we decided to have a very clear agreement with a very strong and powerful school, which is DLH. So we had, as you can see, is very clear agreement for full consultancy. They are going to provide us all experience of 22 years in their education, curriculum and program of study. Even now, for more than 2 weeks, we are taking training workshops about the skills to work together in a school in general, about the teaching skills in a very high and professional way. As well, they are going to provide the on-job training and follow-up for the first year. With all our staff, they are going to have a full following up and on-job training to let everything to be on a very professional and clear way. And for the accreditation, inshallah, also with Dr. Abdul Rashid, you will have more idea about accreditation. So to sum up, what we are trying to say, the school's feature, that it has international American curriculum. The school will teach 3 languages in a professional level, English, Arabic, and Japanese. The school will have strong Islamic education in Arabic. By the way, the 4 schools in Tokyo, they are teaching Islamic subjects in English. And they are not giving high care for Arabic language. We will try to help the child graduate high school as a Hafiz, inshallah. Have qualified role model teachers, will use the latest educational methodologies, enhance the intellectual as well, the emotional intelligence, emphasize greatly on building our children's character. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support all of us to fulfill our dream and to continue this project and to make it for His sake. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us to see all our children as joys for our eyes. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan for your kind listening and attention. And now I will give the mic to the next one.
Thank you very much. Just we have yes, Professor Khalid. Thanks for our founder of school, Sheikh Mohammed Ismail. Yes, actually, from my side as a parent, and also from my side also as one of co-founders of the project, I really appreciate Sheikh Mohammed Ismail for his great effort for reaching to this level for now. And we still didn't finish, of course. So I will just say my presentation now, and this will be a very simple presentation. And here I just focus more, not as one of the school committee member, but I will focus more as one parent. I have 4 kids, alhamdulillah, and maybe 3, I wish 3 of my kids will join this school for next year, inshallah, April 2021, inshallah. So it's a little hard for, not hard, but I should think, well, shall I take my kids from Japanese school, now that I grew up in Japan maybe 8 years, and to take them from Japanese school to this school, just first year school, I should think about many things. And actually I was not arguing, but I just was recommending many things I should focus or be sure before taking my kids from Japanese school to the Islamic International School. So now I just will share my worries about transferring of my concern as a questions and answer session. So at first, when and where this school will start. So inshallah, our school inshallah will start from April 12, the second week of April, and the school is located very close to our masjid, just 4 minutes walk. And here, if you see, this is our masjid, and this is the garden or park which we use to pray Eid prayer every Eid, and this is our school. So this is a school place, and alhamdulillah, it's very near to this park, which you can also help us for some outside activities, and also masjid is very close to help our students to go, for example, in break time to pray or something and come back to be connected with masjid, or to have some activities in masjid, like Quran activities or something, activities in masjid also, inshallah. So second question came to my mind, how much is the school fees? Everyone is concerned about how can I get this responsibility or to pay this tuition fees or not. Especially as you know that the Hokkaido International School, for example, one of the famous schools in Hokkaido, the tuition fees is about 200,000 per month. And if you get allowance exemption for 50%, it would be 100,000 per month. It's really tough for most of us to pay this amount of fees. So, alhamdulillah, school fees only 25,000 per month. Alhamdulillah, so alhamdulillah, it's convenient, I think, for most of us. But maybe it's not convenient of some, especially self-supported parents or something. So, is there any subsidies? Yes, inshallah, will be inshallah. So we can reduce each month. It will be only 15,000 inshallah. If you have some low-income family, or maybe if you are just doesn't have any income or something, it can be only each month inshallah. So inshallah, our strategy, we will not let any parent not be able to let his children to have proper Islamic international education because of money, inshallah. So the second question, if I have more than 1 children like me, shall I pay for everyone 250,000? So, no. For second children, inshallah, we have 40% discount, it will be only 15,000. And for third children, inshallah, it will be only each month, well, 10,000, inshallah. So if you have 3 children, you can pay only as 50,000 as you only paid for 2 children, inshallah. So, now I became interested. So, how many grades you will start with? Only first grade or elementary school? So unfortunately, the capacity of our school only 4 classes for the first year. So we are, inshallah, open the admission from today, inshallah, until 1 week. So during this time, we will check how many applicants we will receive, inshallah, and which grade of applicant, and we will check if we will start the regular continuous 4 grades from grade 1 to grade 4, or if we don't have applicant in each grade, in any grade of this, then we can go to grade 5, for example, or something. So, but the maximum capacity of our school this year, only 4 grades, inshallah. So, okay, how can I register? So, if you just write Sapporo Islamic International School in your mobile phone or in your PC, just you will find us here. And if you went to this is our location, you can just go to direction to go to our school, this school building. Or if you push the website, you'll find our website. And from website, if you push for admission, if you click admission, you'll find the school admission, inshallah, form. You just fill this form and we will contact you, inshallah. Okay, so can I transfer my kids from Japanese school to SIIS, Sapporo Islamic International School? Let us ask if someone interested to do so. Yes, everyone is interested to do, inshallah, alhamdulillah. All students almost want to go. So inshallah, yes, you can do it, inshallah. And that's a very good thing. We, alhamdulillah, we asked, of course, we didn't do anything from scratch. We asked how it's going in Otsuka, UI, and other schools. They have parents. If some parents like me, for example, his students or his kids is already registered in Japanese school, he can keep his student as name in Japanese school and just take them to international school without taking their file or something. They will be registered from both schools. Is it allowed? Alhamdulillah. Just yesterday we got confirmation from, of course we are working for it for a long time. Yesterday we got confirmation from Hokkaido Education, Ministry of Education, and they said yes, okay, no problem, inshallah. If you are international, you can just register your son and he don't need to come. And inshallah, every year he will be just graduated automatically until the end of elementary school. Even in junior high school, he will also can graduate, upgrade automatically. If he have some exam or some assignments, he can go to assign, but he don't need to attend at all until the end of elementary school, even in junior high school. So you don't have any problem if your kids in Japanese school, he can join our school. You don't need to have any discussion just with your school. Just you tell them that my kids will not be able to come to school as they have other important education, they will come, but their name will be in the school. So it will not be a problem, inshallah. So I can do, but the issue, what will happen if I didn't like, or my son didn't like this school? Can I take him back? Unfortunately, there is no anyone who remains the Japanese school, but inshallah, no problem, you can take your kids there again, but he will be alone. Okay, this one. So inshallah, no problem, inshallah. You can take him as you are keeping his name there, of course. You don't have any problem just to let him after 1 year or 2 years, or after by finishing the elementary school, for example, you can just take him back if you like. So, okay. So what's your plan after elementary school? Will you continue or not? So, inshallah, we have planned to have junior high school, and inshallah, we have planned also to have high school, inshallah, Islamic high school, inshallah. We are working from now to have a school building, inshallah, and to fit all of the grades, inshallah. We are working from now for many things, inshallah. I will introduce also in the next slide, inshallah. So at least for now, if we have the 4 grades, we will start from 2021. So inshallah, by 2024, we'll start our junior high school, and by 227, we'll start our high school, inshallah, high school, inshallah. So parents have, inshallah, the chance to let their students continue in Islamic international education until they finish the education until finishing the high school. So after high school, will you have Islamic university? No, of course, we will not do Islamic university. We don't have this plan until now. We didn't think about it actually. So the issue is, if my son decided, as you know, that most of us, or not most, but yes, most of Muslims here are international, maybe students in Hukudai, or some people come for short time, and maybe at any time they will want to move from Sapporo or from Japan to their country or to another country. So what will happen if I need to take my son, for example, when he is in the 2nd grade of junior high school, or for grade 8 or something? What certificate he will receive from your school? We will issue, inshallah, for him the school transfer certificate. We confirm it with other international schools to accept what kind of certificate the international school could accept. in anywhere in the world, they said they should have certificate from school. This certificate should be signed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the country which they are studying in. So we have experience, alhamdulillah, to put our school stamp and to notarize these documents and to get the certification of Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Japan, inshallah. So we'll be easy to have identified certificate from our school, inshallah. This mean you have not, that you don't have accreditation? Yes, till now we don't have accreditation for our school, but we are working to have accreditation. Actually, this accreditation is not an easy matter, and we cannot start or get it before starting our school. At first, we should have a school, we should have school building, we should have curriculum, we should have our staff, we should have all of our work, then we will apply for accreditation. And there's two kinds of accreditation. The first kind of accreditation is Gakuhujin accreditation, or which is like the certificate you are well organized or well known school in Japan, you will receive this Gakuhujin. And the second accreditation is American accreditation from the American organization, which is they certify the schools all over the world. And for this issue, as Imam shows that we are working from Dar Luqman Hakim to start our curriculum and everything in the proper way, because in the time when we apply for accreditation to get it easy, inshallah. So accreditation is very difficult word, I cannot say it, sorry. So, the next, can my child join Japanese university after SIIS? Sorry, as a parent, I am very worried. I asked a lot of questions as you see. So I'm sorry for that. Maybe I'm not interested in this question, but I'm sorry. For me, I was a little interested. So yes, actually we checked also the system for accepting students in Japan, University of Japan. There are two kinds of applicant or application. Could you, as a student, can be applied to join Japanese university? One, if he's a Japanese student, he should join or she should go to the entrance exam of university, and it is in Japanese language. And the second thing, if he's an international student, he should have the certification from international, according to international system. For example, for us, it will be SAT. SAT system, which is a global certification, which is well known, like TOEFL and IELTS and others. SAT is a certification test for any student who wants to join the university. It's well known in America, England, Australia, Singapore, and many countries, and also it's known in Japan. And there are some universities in Japan accept just SAT certificate. They accept it as admission for entering the university. So inshallah, we are evaluating our students to join by any way of this course, inshallah. He will have the chance to apply for both methods, inshallah. So, I think this is very difficult slide to up. Okay, but I will try to do my best. Actually, this slide is for SAT accreditation or the SAT exam. SAT exam, as Imam said, is after grade 12. And there are two kinds of SAT. There are SAT 1 and SAT 2. SAT 1 just check the English. If you are professional or could study in English in university, they're checking your reading, speaking, your writing, everything as English skills. And also they check your math or wave thinking, it's critical thinking. This SAT 1, which is just 50% of the certificate, and 10% of this certificate to enter university in American diploma is SAT 2. SAT 2 is science and advanced math. And the other 40% is just collected from GPA, which is like other subjects which we are studying in your school. And this one of advantage of using American school, you can have the opportunity to use as much as you will. As you wish, this 40% of GPA, like social math and science projects and other things, then inshallah will be this 100% from your certificate at students after grade 12 or after high school. With this one, he will achieve the SAT certification, inshallah. SAT exam is well known all over the world. It exists also in Japan in many centers. It exists in Hokkaido. This place of Hokkaido also it exists to have SAT exam 4 times per year. With this SAT, we will start to prepare our children from grade 1 until grade 12, inshallah, to pass this SAT exam, inshallah. as Dawud Hakim is our consultant, or will give us full consultants for passing this SAT exam, as they have good experience on it. They are working, and they not only rely on SAT exam or SAT subjects, but also they add the English, other English, and they also, to improve the English, and also to add Quran, Arabic, Islamic skills, and also in SAT 2, they add other subjects, like biology and physics and chemistry and advanced maths, to be well identified from other organizations even more than SAT, if the student is wish. This one, of course, it will be like optional subjects. The student can choose one of them. So, okay, I will ask again one silly question. Will you still have transportation? Unfortunately, we will not have transportation. We are not planning to have transportation this year, as we have experience with transportation in our after school. It takes a lot of effort, and we are not ready for this effort or headache this year, unfortunately. So inshallah, we have inshallah also planning to have our school transportation, but not from the beginning, inshallah. Maybe by next year, inshallah, or by consulting with parents who need the transportation. So, what can I do if I couldn't find my question? Please don't ask, it's easy. So inshallah, we have discussion, inshallah, session. We will receive your question if you have as a question, inshallah. So, in conclusion, I would like to thank the Dawud Hakim School. They actually did a lot of effort with us, a lot of meetings. I cannot actually count how many hours we spent meeting with Dawud Hakim, as well as Oscar International Islamic School and UI International School, Islamic School in Tokyo. And actually also I would like to thank all our consultants from all over the world. And actually we didn't mention all of consultants here. For example, one of the consultants that we have here with us a lot, Mr. Suzuki. Mr. Suzuki is a teacher in elementary school, and we have a lot of consultants with him, how we will teach the Japanese language for schools, same as to be the same line with Japanese schools. And also how we will do our activities. He also will help us to get some part-time teachers, have good experience in Japanese school, elementary school, inshallah, for having part-time work for teaching Japanese language and teaching activities of reading, inshallah. And I really want to thank all of your attendance today. And I have only one simple request, if you allow me. I just wish you could keep us in your dua, inshallah, and your support. Jazakumullah khairan, and thank you very much for listening. Jazakumullah khairan. So,
we cannot ask you now, right?
okay.
Thank you for the speech. Let's move on to the next the speakers, the event. We have actually two specially invited speakers. And one of them is come up to the stage. Mohammed Ibrahim, school coordinator.
I just would like to introduce Brother Muhammad Ibrahim. Brother Muhammad Ibrahim is engineering, and he's a teacher in Japanese school. He has experience to teach in English language in Japan for more than 3 years. He has a good experience for teaching in Japan. Also, he's native, of course, Arabic. His English also is like native, I think. And also, he have good level in Japan, like business level of Japanese, like Hindu or business level of Japanese. So, inshallah, today we have a very short presentation, maybe mainly about what we are doing or going to do, inshallah, in school, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we finished all of the admin talk. We finished the strategic planning by Mr. Muhammad Ismail. We finished the long Q&A session with Mr. Muhammad Abdurrashid. So let's start talking about bits and pieces of teaching techniques we'll be having in the school starting from April, inshallah. So for this part's agenda, we have three main ingredients or elements. First one, next page, is the teaching methods. So in general, we have two main teaching methods. The old traditional teaching method, which is teacher-centered. And the second one is the modern teaching method, which is student-centered. In the traditional teaching method, which is a one-way style of teaching, a teacher uses a blackboard and then writes information where students listen, observe, take notes, and they also have to memorize facts in order to gain information. But as anyone can see, this kind of method is really conventional, it's really old, and you cannot encourage critical thinking. So that's why a new method was introduced. Next, please. The new method is the modern way of teaching. In the modern way of teaching, the classroom has more interactive way between the students and the teachers, where the students can share their own opinion, and they can share their own opinion and have more interactive way of learning. And at the same time, while doing so, they will be able to study and engage in a lifelong learning and social skills. Next. In our school, inshallah, we'll be using a mixture of both techniques. Sometimes we'll be using the old traditional way. Sometimes we'll be using the new traditional way, but most of the time we'll be using blended teaching method, which, as you can see, it's like, imagine a blender, and then you have the traditional way of teaching and the modern way of teaching. And then you use both styles. You have an interactive learning approach between the teachers and the students, and at the same time, you can also use traditional ways of teaching, old styles like memorizing or even using chalk or for studying. So this will be the main method in our school, inshallah. Next. And as you know, kids are different. They have different characters, they have different personalities, and they also have different intelligences. So some kids are really good at sports. They move a lot when they are young, super young. So they are called bodily smart. Other kids have very good natural ability in learning languages. So they are linguistically smart. Some kids are they are super talkative. They talk too much. But this is actually a good thing because they are people smart, interpersonally smart. So in order to help each and every kid to study and have the best possible way of teaching, we need to identify each and every one of the kids' intelligences. And the result, we can have a harmonious Islamic society full of different kids where they can do what they can do, where they can study and develop their own skills and their own intelligences, and at the same time do what they like. In order to do so, we need practical applications. So inshallah, for next year, for example, we have 5 main events. These are the 5 main events during the physical year of 2021, inshallah. So in these events, students will be able to learn various and different skills. For example, the school bazaar. In the school bazaar, kids will be able to acquire business Islamic skills and etiquettes, such as planning, marketing, and innovation. Another event is the science fair, where kids will be able to obtain skills such as working under pressure and even multitasking. And the closing event, inshallah, will be a big wide show where the kids will have public speeches, overcoming stage fright. And this kind of events, our children, we are able to build our children's character through doing practical applications of what they have learned throughout the physical year, inshallah. So that's it. Thank you all for listening. And please, as Mr. Muhammad says, make dua for us, and yeah, we hope for your continuous support, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Okay.
A very quick question.
Yes.
Mr. Muhammad, you are one of the potential teachers, right, of the school.
Yes.
I want to just make
I'm a teacher.
because I was maybe you need to inform us that you are a potential teacher.
Please, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was maybe, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yes.
No,
Mr. Muhammad is one of our school teachers, inshallah, and he's a senior teacher, not only
yeah,
teacher.
actually, very great. Very
Well, we
good.
see
What
two
you show
teachers,
us very
inshallah.
nice. What
Yes.
you show us very nice. Your vision of what you do, great.
Thank you very much. Okay. Miss Dr. Alaa, we will give you a mic, inshallah, for question, but after this last session, inshallah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Because we need to listen from your comments, inshallah, but for everyone, not only for us. So now we came to the last talk for today from Mr. Engineer Farouk. Mr. Farouk is one of our school consultants, as Imam showed, and actually he is a co-founder of two Islamic schools, Uska International Islamic School and UR International Islamic School, and alhamdulillah also he helped us a lot. Actually at first he was like one of our consultants, but actually his work was like co-founder, or maybe yes, like working co-founder. He was working maybe 24 hours for us. Inshallah, let's listen for his talk today. He came from Tokyo, especially for attending our school presentation, as he feels he was one of this great project. So let's just listen for his talk. Thank you.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وسلم تسليما مزيدا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm not going to spend or waste much of your time, but I just want to talk about my experience. So, as you know, I'm from the UK. I came to Japan for various reasons. And alhamdulillah, I felt that in Japan, I was more of an active Muslim, more than I was in the UK. You know, in terms of da'wah, in terms of ghusl al-mayyit, and helping out in the masajid. But one thing that was lacking when I was in Tokyo was Islamic education, Islamic schools. And as I've heard many, you know, horrific stories about, you know, the children leaving Islam. Now, because of this, I felt I didn't want to stay in Japan. I couldn't stay in this country. So after consulting with the Otsuka Japan Islamic Trust, alhamdulillah, I started to help develop the school in Otsuka, which is now 5 years ago. And as well as UI, we helped them to start, and we did that in the same year. To be honest, it wasn't smooth. We didn't have much knowledge in all this. So we tried to open the first year, we failed, and we then, alhamdulillah, we opened the second year. And I just, before I continue my points, I want to say that what we attempted in Otsuka for 1 year or two, mashallah, this Sapporo International Islamic School condensed all that and much more in just a few months with all the knowledge that we had. And subhanAllah, I think it's a very good start by looking at this from my personal experience. Now, we started in Otsuka with 6 children, and alhamdulillah is developing, and we're going to start junior high school, and we have 50 students or more so far. Now, what really hits me, alhamdulillah, is what was worth it in the end. I mean, all this hard work and effort, I felt, because 2 of my children are now in that school. And they came to me and they said, Baba, we love the Quran. That's made me very tearful. That's, you know, we don't tell the children, okay, you must read, you must memorize. No, that's not the priority. The priority is to love the Islam, love the Quran. And naturally the children will want to do it. And they're reading Quran and I will tell them,
go read Quran, memorize. They're doing on their own. And as well, like the Islamic stories and adab and all this, which I didn't teach them, they're learning me and asking me about these things. So I felt such a relief that, I'm working, I'm busy, I don't have so much time, but this, lifts the burden. So, and I will ask those, parents who think, okay, what about the worldly knowledge? That's important as well, right? But as the Sheikh mentioned earlier about the foundation is Islam. The golden age of Islam, as you know, that back in the history, the golden age of Islam, where we had many Islamic inventions, without their help, we wouldn't have lights or cameras or any kind of engineering architecture. They did this because they want to understand Khalqullah. Not because to know how things work, but how Allah designed things. And this is how they became successful. And this is what we have to return to. We have to return to that base, our Islamic knowledge, the Quran. And that will give us good in this life and the next. It will help in the worldly knowledge as well as in the Akhirah. And in the end, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, inshallah, we could ask, Allah will ask us, what did you do for your children? What means did you have? You cannot say, I'm busy and all this. There's tools. The school now is here, and it's providing you the chance to give your child that Islamic education. And I want to say, lastly, is that do not miss this opportunity at all. From my experience in 5 years of doing the management of the school, I've felt happy every single step of the way. So, and I really applaud the brothers here who are starting this school. And alhamdulillah, I will also keep on continuing to contribute from the experiences we have in Oscar. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now we came to the last session, which is the most important session, which is represented in the of Catches Point. Yes. I just will give you. So inshallah, we will now start to receive some discussion or question and answer session. And we'll start with Dr. Ali, inshallah.
You didn't raise my hand.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, thank you very much for great job. I believe you made really good effort to summarize and show us your strategy for the school. And I feel even the teacher shows us his teaching philosophy. I'm very satisfied, very happy to see his way of teaching. And what I can say, thank you very much. I believe you did a great job. Yeah, it's still a big decision for me to take my daughter from the Japanese school, that I am seriously thinking of taking her to the international school. I need a few days to decide because it's a really big decision. And I believe you guys really did a great job. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was really a dream for me, and I really can see the true now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But we didn't give you the mic. These people who think now we give you the mic just to compliment us. We need some argument. Some side questions. Okay. So, for example, for you as a parent, what do you think, what you still
in education, my concern is
yes.
the education.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of part of my job.
Yes, of course, yes.
How you guys choose the teacher? Even I'm very satisfied with his philosophy. I'm fine.
Yes.
But you know, for us as a parents, we need to know your strategy. How you set up the criteria to choose the teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Alaa, for your comment and for your appreciation. Allah bless you. So actually, for the criteria to choose or to hire a teacher in our school, we had a very clear criteria out of 2 points. The first point, that this teacher should be a qualified teacher for what he is going to teach. And of course, we have interviewed And this interview, not only board members are attending, but of course other specialists, they are giving, like we had a very professional HR, we have an HR for our school, is one of the top HRs in Egypt and Saudi Arabia for the top companies like in Pepsi and so on. So he was doing the interviews to just give some good evaluation for this person, is he qualified or is she qualified to teach this or not. This is the first criteria. The second criteria, which is very, very important for us, practicing. Without having a practicing teacher, then cannot be a role model for the students. So this was also very important for us. So we need the practicing good Muslim, the role model for our students, and qualified one. And yet, we are not enough, like this is not enough for us to hire. That's why we are having a very intensive workshops and training courses and on-job training from a professional school that will ensure the way or the performance of the teachers, how they are going to teach, the lesson plans, the way of teaching, the active learning, the positive discipline. All these ways they are going, we are already taking these days with the staff. And it is in details and not enough just to give some lectures or workshops. They are going to have on-job training for 1 year. That's why we are trying our best to ensure the quality. Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, of course, the psychology, like positive discipline, is one of our main points.
One, just a good advice. I also recommend, I'm so happy to see Suzuki, Mr. Suzuki is joining your the activity of the school. Yeah, he's one of the advisors. And let him more be involved in the education and also what you teach in the school, because we live in Japan, so also we need something about the environment of Japan. So he will give us some of the indication or lines and follow as well.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. As well, we have in the committee members Yusuf Sensei, and you know Yusuf Sensei is Japanese professor, and yeah, he is of course one of the main consultants, and he can, yeah, of course with Suzuki-san.
Talking about
Yeah, cool. Yes. That's why we requested him, and he can take it.
And also,
Yeah.
Dr. Sinzanati, one of the Ministry of Education consultants in Japan, is also in Cairo. He was in Kitami, Dr. Sinzanati. Also want us to have good experience also in teaching and method and philosophy. And also we have also like consultant for us. We did many meetings with him also to receive many information about education and method of education in Cairo.
Yes. We have Engineer Omar, please go ahead.
Thank you for the speech. Really, I'm very excited for your good initiative. I want to just congratulate for your initiative.
Exactly.
Actually, my son is just in grade 4 right now, and he's studying in Corporate International School. For the next year, especially, I want to ask that. Right now, I saw that up to 4 grade, there exists some class. What about grade 5, grade 6, and after that, what will be? And yeah, for the next year, if we just try to just join here, what will be for my son actually? The other thing is the engaging to this program for the mid levels. Okay, it's very great in starting from the grade first and the other. The education program will be very clear. But what about the mid levels? What do you think about their engaging, their just adaptation to both Arabic, to Japanese, and to English, and to all school program actually? And the other question is about the campus of the school. Just I seen from the website on the one picture, I couldn't just exactly have a knowledge about the school environment around and inside actually. And is there any play garden? Is there any campus to just do these practical things that you mentioned? I'm just wondering about that. And the other thing is the last question, maybe about the food, lunch, breakfast. Are just providing these in school? Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. So I hope I will remember all the questions. Okay, so starting from, may I answer?
Yes.
Okay. Starting from your son now in grade 4, so in April, grade 5, right? So actually, as Dr. Abdul Rashid mentioned, we have 4 grades will be opened. But according to the applicants, we may skip 1 grade. So it may be 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5, and skipping 4 if there is no applicants for 4, for example. So this cannot be cleared right now. It will be cleared within exactly 10 days because application will be only for 10 days. After that, we can understand if there is a gap or it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is just 1, 2, 3, 4, then we cannot have 5, unfortunately, I'm very sorry, from this year. So maybe next year, inshallah, but this year we cannot provide, and it is not clear right now because we cannot open a complete class for 1 student, and we have only 4 vacant classes to have 4 grades. So this is for the first part. The second part was about
what you will do is for example, if some student join from grade 5, what will you do?
Okay. Yeah, if someone is coming in a bit higher age and he does not know English, does not know Arabic, how can he be enrolled and follow up the education? Actually, this is a very common case, and it took a long time from us to discuss it. With Tokyo schools, Otsuka, UI, and as well in Egypt even, because they receive many foreign students cannot speak Turkish. By the way, DLH, they have a branch in Turkey as well. So sometimes Turkish students, they cannot speak Arabic, they cannot speak English. So what to do? In that case, they make special classes after school, and they make a special program for that student to improve and increase his performance in this language, or in these 2 languages. But mostly it is not rejected. Sometimes if grade 4 and does not know ABC, it's very difficult. But if just simple level of English, but he needs to improve it, then they make a special program. And this is what we are going to do, inshallah. Especially, we are expecting many students from non-Arabs, grade 3 or grade 4, we will accept, but we will make intensive courses after school, from 3 to 5:30 for Arabic if they don't know Arabic. If they need English, we will do English. If they need both, also, we will provide this in the after school. So this will be according to the applicants, according to the levels. So we will make, of course, exam or evaluation test for any applicant to understand his level in these languages that he is going to study with. And regarding the campus, we have just as a starting, of course, and resources are not high. So as a starting point, and also we are not expecting to have more than 20 students in the first year. That's why it is just apartment, and this is what exactly they did in Tokyo as well after collecting the experiences. So for the break time and having some for the just break time and having some out activities, there is a very close park. We will take them as normal schools. They take the students for some break, and the masjid is close by. Inshallah, they will pray in the masjid, Dhuhr prayer. And for the sports, we already contacted Jido Kaiken and some other places near the school. They have already the facilities of indoor playgrounds like basketball and soccer and like this. We will use this, and we already have agreement to use these facilities for the sports. And as Suzuki-san is going to help us about providing the Japanese speaking teacher for the physical exercise, so we will have a Japanese teacher for that, and we are going to use the facilities nearby the school. And for the halal food, actually we are not planning in the
Not
first
halal food, unfortunately. The food is not halal.
yeah, we are not planning to have halal food in the first year. Maybe inshallah later, because also this is type of burden and pressure, we cannot bear it in the first year. But inshallah, from maybe next year, we are going to have this. But in the first year, unfortunately, it will be like other schools. The family provide the meal with the student in the morning, and he can take his lunch at school, inshallah.
However, one thing
Is there still other question I didn't answer?
Thank you so much.
Okay,
The
jazakallah.
minimum number of students that we establish at the class. How many students needed for each class?
Actually, we are planning even if it's one student, inshallah we can start the class, but we will take the highest number of applicants. For example, if we receive 3 students in first grade, 3 students of first grade, and 1 student in second grade, we can skip second grade if you have 1 applicant to get the chance for 6 students, not 1 student. That's why this will be our structure, inshallah, to define after exit the application or admission, inshallah. And inshallah, we'll contact all parents and get the results, inshallah. So we could also remember, just I think you were thinking that we can make some, after the prayer, we can have some small lunch for our school staff in the masjid. But then we should discuss it with parents. If parents wish, we can make it, because just we concerned about the expenses and many things. So that's why we don't like to start from the first year. But inshallah, it also could be consultant with parents, inshallah, voting with the parents, inshallah. Then we will come to some agreement if we will have or not, but it could be with parents, inshallah. But for now, we didn't say. For now, we don't have this plan in our mind till now, inshallah.
Yes, so next. Okay,
Thank you so much for your nice presentation. Yeah, as you know, having a school in Sapporo, Islamic school in Sapporo was kind of a dream of everyone in the Hokkaido Islamic Society. So really, I would like to appreciate and thank again for all effort, great efforts you have done to make this dream come true. Since my daughter is 3 years old, so I am concerned a bit about the kindergarten. So yeah, I couldn't notice any vision or planning about the kindergarten. So I want to ask whether you will be able to start the kindergarten from this year. Or, thank you so much.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Mahmoud. Actually, for the kindergarten, we are planning to start from October, not from April. Yes, we will have another orientation, inshallah, before October for application. But from April, it is difficult, and the main reason that because of coronavirus and because we cannot have the proper teachers from abroad, so we decided not to have a risk and start with low quality teachers from April. So we decided to delay it for 6 months, October, for the KG. So even, I have a child, Yusuf is like kindergarten age, and still we cannot apply it in April. So it will be in October, inshallah. May Allah make it easy.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of concerns about the kindergarten, so maybe I will delay to the orientation.
Okay.
We can discuss it. Thank you so much.
We will listen to your advices before. Yes, next. Okay.
Thank you so much for the presentation and efforts. I have one concern about the social life of my kids. I mean, if they go to school and they have Japanese friends, and suddenly I ask them to leave all this life and join the international school, will this affect their mentality and also for their future? Apparently, the school will focus on Arabic and English, but they will forget everything about Japanese, maybe. So, if they will continue their life in Japan, how this will affect their life in the future? Will they become isolated, or what will happen? This is my main concern.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. So for this important point, of course, we thought about it and we asked about it, how it was in other schools in Tokyo. So actually, regarding a school, students to be transferred from Japanese school to come to international school in general or to Islamic school, of course, it will be a change. for the student, for the child. So this changing, no doubt that some children accept it and some children feel weird in the beginning. This is a new environment. I didn't get used to that. I don't like this, I dislike this, and so on. So this exactly happened in UI. And when you go and visit UI, you can ask them. And they said for almost 1 year or close to 1 year, especially the high grade students, like coming from grade 4 and 5 and 6, they were like, we hate the Islamic school, we don't like this, we want to go back to the Japanese schools. After 1 year, subhanAllah, they totally changed. They said, we don't want to leave the school at all. And now they are, mashallah, their performance is perfect. So this type of sudden change in the child like or dislike, this is very normal because it's something new. So it will take time to adapt. But of course, as you know, the Prophet ﷺ is saying, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalili, falyanzur ahadukum man yukhallil." So the person is on the same way and level of deen as his friend. So it's very, very essential to give our children the proper environment and friends. And it's very, very dangerous to just surround them by total like non-believers, that they are taking their ideologies, their discussions, and a lot of discussions even in very young age. We cannot accept it at all in our Islamic religion and culture. So it is, of course, best way to keep them in a good environment. They will not accept it directly, some of them, and some will accept, will be happy. But after some time, inshallah, they will be calm and they will adapt. So this already happened in some other cases, and alhamdulillah now it's very fine. Okay? And regarding Nihongo, or in the future, we said that already. We have Suzuki-san, and he is going to help us, inshallah, to have the same level of Nihongo, so that children, if they anytime they want to go back to continue in the Japanese school, they can continue easily. So this, don't worry about, they will not forget Nihongo, they will continue on the same level of Japanese school. This is for the language. And regarding like the Japanese culture, of course it will not be, we will not have the higher Japanese culture as the Japanese schools, of course. But we are trying to provide what is more essential, and they are living in Japan, so it will be type of mix after some time may help, inshallah, to let them give the proper model of the good Muslim, proud of his identity and living in Japan in a normal way, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a very little question about the transport. Before that, I would like to thank you for this great initiative and such type of good presentation. So, first of all, you mentioned you will start the transportation facilities from the next year. So if it is from the next year, then yes, of course it's important and necessary. So the Muslim community in Sapporo, they are living in a scattered way, like here and there, like some little cluster, like Higashi. So even if we have the intention to enroll our kids in school, maybe some of the parents will not be able to put up or pick up their kids from the school because of their daily life, like schooling, research, or job, or something. So can you reconsider about the transportation, even in the small scale, if it's not possible in big school bus or something? So this is my question or request or something. Thank you.
So actually we were thinking to start it from this year, but as we have experience to arrange transportation for after school, and actually take a lot of time and a lot of arranging. And we don't need to lose our quality of education because of arranging transportation. That's why we think at least the first year we should give all our focus for the quality of education and the quality inside our school. That's why we thought that if we think about food and we think about transportation, this may affect our focusing in quality education and matching and integrating this important English language and American curriculum, Islamic curriculum with Quran, with many other things, with activities. So that's why we thought that, and we came to this decision. We will not take the responsibility of transportation in the first year, at least in the first year. However, we can help parents to do it. For example, if you are in Higashi, not Higashi Night, for example, we can just check how many kids in Higashi Night, we can check with some parents to take this. It will be like parents' responsibility, not school responsibility. And it's a big difference between parents' responsibility and school responsibility, as we need the principal of the school and teachers focusing on quality of education, not focusing in arranging of transportation. This at least for the first year, inshallah. Inshallah, for next year we can do it. But in the first year also we help parents, inshallah, to arrange it together, inshallah. And the good thing is the school is very near, close to Hokkaido University, very close to Masjid, so I think also near to the Kita Juni subway station. So I think the place is not so far, so inshallah it will be managed, inshallah. By parents, we will help, inshallah, also, but we will not take the responsibility. This is the difference. We still have 10 minutes for questions.
Okay, I just have a... Yes. So, I would like to thank your effort, and as you know, inshallah, I intend to leave February 23, but after that maybe I will be thinking, so this issue. So I have one question about if some student, you know, there's some students come sometime in April, October, so this is also can be possible to apply to enter just they are coming, because you said, for example, the application is just 10 days and start from April. So you can manage these newcomer student children to enroll in the school, or it will be difficult just from the next year. This is one question.
Okay, I will answer this question. Okay, actually, why we opened that the only registration or admission only for this 1 week, because we need to know how many grades we will have, according to the applicant, which is already exists now in Sapporo. And if we decide after applications, for example, we have the first grade and third grade and fourth grade and fifth grade, for example, then if any student came from the 8th grade before starting the school, inshallah, we can accept him in this grade, inshallah, as he will have space, inshallah. If we have space in this grade, no problem, inshallah. But this is very important for us to decide which grade we will start, inshallah. That's why we make the application only until the 23rd of February, inshallah. And I just need to focus again, application or admission for the school, inshallah, will start from today. Now on the website, if you in the website of school, you find the admission, inshallah. You can register from now until 23rd of February, inshallah. After that, we will have 1 week, and before the starting of March, inshallah, candidate of students, inshallah, will be confirmed, and we will contact the parents to arrange what is going on, inshallah. This is the question.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Dr. Esther, I guess, yes.
Thank you so much for your effort. It's really amazing, actually. So I have one concern about the school timing. So it should be starting from 8 or 9 until what time exactly, please?
Okay, inshallah, students will start from 8:30 a.m. as normal Japanese school, inshallah. So students should be in the school before 8:30 a.m. every day. And the school will finish around 3:30 as normal Japanese school, inshallah. However, even though in the, at least the most famous schools, Otsuka and UI, they don't have judo kaiken. But for us, inshallah, we are planning to have judo kaiken, Islamic judo kaiken, not just let the kid play judo kaiken. Especially, we are believing that in the first year, or maybe in the beginning, we should have more attention for language, English, Japanese, or English, or Arabic, according to the needs of students. So the students will, of course, we are focusing a lot of intelligence of students, emotional intelligence, positive disciplines, active learning. We know the capacity of students. Alhamdulillah, we have good consultants in just psychology of students. We will not bother or burden them from a lot of education or a lot of subjects, but still we are planning, inshallah, to have after school for providing for them essential information or language or other subjects they will need, inshallah, maybe until 5:30 or 6 p.m., inshallah.
So
you asked me before, but
yeah, I'm sorry. So I imagine you have one teacher now. Is it right? No. Is it only one teacher?
Actually, we now have like 8 teachers. Okay. but not all of them from Japan, from inside Japan.
I mean, when the classes start.
Yes, yes. Some of them still outside Japan. We have like pre-plan because we don't start with 8 teachers. It's very difficult. Even it's out of our financial things. That's why we have 8 teachers, not only 4 teachers. For example, if you need 4 classes, you should have 4 teachers at least. Of course, we still have part-time teachers for Japanese and for PE even. And also we have also part-time teacher maybe we have native speaker teacher but still outside Japan. For now, we are also communicating with one part-time teacher native also from inside Japan. Anyway, we have many teachers, alhamdulillah, many candidates, alhamdulillah. According to how many gates will open, inshallah, we will size the perfect teacher, and all of teachers now is under training, inshallah, and workshops for improving their teaching skills and new methods for teaching, as Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim showed in his presentation.
Yeah, so please accept my advice to keep this school professional.
Yeah.
We don't need to face the problems that one teacher resigns suddenly because of stress or psychological problems. So please do have some like contingency plans. What happened if this suddenly occurred? One teacher is leaving. So what will happen to our kids?
Yes.
Of course, the changing teacher is a stress on the children. But what the management will do, and also, will you have like camera system to monitor the, as a management, to monitor what is happening inside classes? If some problems happen, can you know the cause of this problem in the future, or you don't planning to have such camera system inside classes?
I don't know if it's a good idea or not, because I think it will make sense.
Please look into this.
Okay, but I don't know if Japanese school have this system or not, but we think about it.
Even if they don't have this system.
Actually, we are consulting with many professionals in education and psychology, and this kind of things is very, really, really sensitive for students, for teachers, for everyone to think that is one thing. Of course, all of us is one thing by Allah, and we should keep it in our mind. But still, we also consult, I think, with our consultant.
It's not like someone is watching the monitor 24/7, but it's like when something happened.
Yes.
We really want to know what happened. So if a parent asks you as a management,
yes.
I think to treat the situation correctly, you have an evidence or something that can help. Anyway,
okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. And for teachers, again, you asked about if some teacher have some stress or he resigned or something. Actually, also we, as a management, we also attending this like leadership skills and managing skills, problem-solving skills. That's why just to even not only know about the emotional intelligence of our kids, also our teachers also needs our teacher, how we can keep the performance of teacher fair, high quality without stress. Because we don't need our teacher to be under stress. We need them to love this work, their work, to do the best in their work, inshallah. That's why, inshallah, I believe that after finishing all these great workshops which are going now, and we're still doing rest year, inshallah, all the year, inshallah, we'll have like under workshop, continuous workshops, inshallah. So I believe no one will leave, inshallah, because of stress. Except if the parents put stress.
So another issue also.
That's the question.
Another issue for if you can also not close to Sapporo. I mean, if other students from other places near Sapporo like have some housing together, this is sometimes happen in some international school here in Hokkaido. They provide some house and some guide leader for these children in the future. I mean, this is in the future. So the student can stay during education months in this city and just go every Friday, for example, with their parent by travel or something like this. And another issue, I think also you are planning in the future to, some schools in Japan almost closed because of low number of students. So I think you have this plan, so in the future you have more students and you can rent or buy this school as to be used. And in that case, of course, transportation will be available. For example, gathering people near Hokodai, every student brings their children, so they can go directly from Hokodai and return with parents. So it will be, inshallah, this is in information if you would like.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Actually, of course, for the first idea, I guess it's not easy to apply. So it's not something practically easy. But Jazakallah khairan for your suggestion. For the second idea, of course, we are planning from now. Already we contacted schools. We have the list of all empty schools in Hokkaido. A lot of empty schools in Hokkaido, not only Hokkaido, all over Japan, a lot of empty schools because low population, they are not getting married, they are not having a lot of children, so schools are closing. So these schools, it can be sold, we can buy it, or we can rent it. So now we are discussing what is the, of course, inside Sapporo there is none. It's outside the city, so it will take at least 50 minutes to 1 hour by car to reach the first empty school. So we are having this in our plan, and we are thinking whether it can be applicable to have a bus, as you mentioned, from some checkpoints and taking the students to a very big school, like more than 8,000 to 10,000 meters square, huge schools, or it is not so applicable. So this is our plan, inshallah, in the future. We will see what is the best idea to have a proper campus. So, of course, we are thinking about it, Jazakallah khairan. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose the best for our society, and we are listening from many parents and as well advisors to have the best solution for them. And regarding internal education, it's already an idea in Tokyo that they are going to make the high school as internal. The students, they will go to a proper school, but they will live there for 3 years. They can just go on vacations to go back to their families, and it's type of very effective way to have the tarbiyah and education in a very good way. So this idea already, we are in contact with Tokyo schools, and we are part of this project in Tokyo, by the way. It will be Central High School, Islamic International Central High School in Tokyo. Near Tokyo, not in Tokyo.
This is applicable for international school here in Hokkaido. Once I visited 10 years ago or something like this, they offer this offer.
Grade 1? You can leave your child from grade 1?
But not elementary.
Ah, yes, that's why. Yes.
I mean in the future,
yes,
this also can be provided. Of course, I mean for the future, not now. Especially if someone have uncontrollable children.
Okay, brother Rafiq, please. Maybe, sorry, Dr. Ali, you say something? Okay,
The idea is kind of far away from us.
Yes.
As a foreigner, we are in a foreign country.
Yes.
We need to be in touch with our kids.
Yes.
It's very essential.
Yes.
For us and for them. So I think the idea itself is, from my side, not acceptable. It's far, we are so far away.
Yeah.
If in your country, I guess it's fine. In Egypt or your country. But maybe a foreign country, I think it's so hard. For us and for the kids.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, brother Rafiq, please.
Maybe this last question for Rafiq, as time now is running out, so this is last question, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. So I would like to thank that very good initiative to launch this Islamic Sapporo Islamic International Islamic School. Okay, here very good planning actually. We already found this one. So if it is implemented, in that case, it will be very fruitful, inshallah. So actually, is there any planning to convey the message? That means, is there any way? Do you have to think to convey the message to some other people? That means whoever actually is not getting this information. So actually, this is my question actually.
Actually, we are trying to do our best to reach to all families in Sapporo or even outside Sapporo city, or even Otaru, Itsu, we send special invitation for all families which we know. We put it in our website and our Facebook page. However, this may be not enough. So this may be responsibility of our brothers, inshallah, who know about the school, to provide this information for other relatives or other families or friends. And also if someone has know some family which will join programs from April, they can ask them from now to apply to the school, inshallah. It will help a lot, inshallah, to estimate the available grades from now, inshallah.
Website is the main source of it. You just put right in the internet, Sapporo Islamic International School in Java. Or you can just, you come to this country, just, if you are, you can just join. Like you using the mobile camera. You will be in the website, inshallah. Okay,
another option, and suppose we can convey the message by using the publishing the newspaper also. That also another option.
This can be option, but I think yes, as this only for Muslim population, so I'm a Muslim community, maybe it will not be interesting for other non-Muslims, for example, maybe. So, but of course, we try, inshallah, to publish it, inshallah, we'll publish if anyone interested, inshallah, because we could join, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khairan. So we came to an end because we have to take all the chairs and tables quickly to give the keys by 12.
Yes.
So Jazakumullah khairan everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from you. And inshallah, see you and keep us in your dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله تعالى وبركاته.
So whether the QR inshallah in the book, what is about QR is our admission in the banner outside. Jazakumullah khair.